I was listening to financial guru Jim Rickards, and he complained that the whole crypto community had created an ecosystem. I usually pronounce it ecosystem, but his term ecosystem was an interesting Freudian slip in terms of the media being an echo chamber with various bubbles that particular demographics are caught in. The media ecosystem is really a media ecosystem. Speaking of echo chambers, there are a few stories that just happened in somewhat rapid succession. In the first, Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake is being attacked by forces who want to stop her from looking into vote fraud. Kari was showing how the signatures on ballots blatantly didn't match the signatures of the people to whom they're being imputed. Instead of contradicting her, which they couldn't, since the ballots were ipso facto fake, they triangulated around it and attempted a new tactic, trying to charge her with a felony for showing the signatures of the voters. In other words, they're trying to make the whistleblower the criminal and allow the actual criminals to skate free by changing the subject. Using the same tactic, Hunter Biden made the news. He unwittingly admitted that the infamous laptop that the computer repair shop found was actually his. He passed over in silence all the felonious contents, and instead called for a criminal probe into those who made an issue of it during the last election. Once again, the criminal is trying to attack the whistleblower and frame those exposing his crime as the true criminals. To expose his criminal activities was a breach of his privacy is his legal argument. Kind of like if a burglar broke into a house and sued the police for violating his privacy, for rummaging through the contents of someone else's bedroom. Psychologists call this projection, when you try to muddy the waters by blaming someone else for something that you yourself did. And now the third news story that kind of plays into this. Earlier when Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago, was raided by the FBI for classified documents, this was a distraction technique to muddy the waters for the later illegally kept documents found in Joe Biden's possession from the time when he was vice president. The difference between this situation? Trump as president could declassify whatever he wanted. Biden as Obama's vice president couldn't. They were different legal situations, but by engaging in projection and attacking Trump first, it muddied the water for the later surrendering of documents that Biden illegally had. So the FBI helped muddy the water to protect Biden by making the innocent look guilty, as a method of letting the guilty man go. This is an old Karl Rove technique. Republican strategist Karl Rove would have to deal with one of his client's shortcomings, like say George W. Bush's time in the military when he went AWOL in 1968. This was damaging. Rove's solution for making it a non-issue was to create a document that looked on the surface authentic. It was filled with factual information, but he left a telltale trace of his fakery by creating the document in a typewriter font that didn't exist in 1968. He then leaked the document to the press, and when someone like Dan Rather reported on it, he pretended to loudly debunk it by drawing attention to the incorrect font. Rather, who interviewed key witnesses from the time and verified the contents of the document, was claimed to be a liar, and the document debunked. In fact, the contents of the document were never debunked. They were factual. But Rove framed it as if Rather was a liar and that the document was phony. Rather lost his job during the scandal, under the misapprehension that his reporting was false. The public was encouraged to think that because the document that Rove created was fake, that the contents inside it were fake. They weren't. So Rove strategically got the voters to throw out the baby with the bathwater and neutralize a damaging situation by tricking people into thinking that it had been debunked. He framed Dan Rather as a liar, when in fact Rather had been uncovering the truth. The liar was framed as the debunker, and the truth teller was framed as the liar. This tactic goes all the way back to Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, a book, by the way, with a dedication to Lucifer. In it, Alinsky wrote, "Accuse your opponent of what you are doing to create confusion and to inculcate voters against evidence of your own guilt." Poor Kari Lake is undergoing this assault now, where the criminals are trying to portray her as the criminal to evade culpability for their own crimes. By the way, we're launching something called The New American TV with hostess Rebecca Terrell. I'll be on it as a sort of color commentator taking apart the news. Check it out on our Locals platform, or look out for it on thenewamerican.com.